We are starting the next vlog and it's just gonna be so chill. It's gonna be so chill because after the Illuminate vlog, I don't want to read anything that I don't like. I mean, that's literally where I'm at. I need to read some books that are just going to make me so excited for reading. And so we're going to be starting the mood reading slash reading my series. So this is technically for the book club, but this really is just a general vlog. So for December, we did not pick a book for the Lazy Book Club. I would definitely wanted it to be like a break month, which I am super grateful for. And I thought it would be fun to give a challenge of having you guys read your series. So that goes for everybody who's watching this. Read your series. It is the end of 2024. We need to get through those series because I know a lot of you are in the middle of series just like I am. So I have picked a bunch of things. Like, I'm definitely not getting through all of these, but there's a lot, and there will be no spoilers for anything. This is just gonna be vibes. This is gonna be vibes if I like it, continuing on in the series, etc. If I think it lives up to the first book, because all of these have a first book that I really enjoyed. So let's get started with this, and I definitely need to read The Gilded Cage. This is the second book after The Prisoner's Throne, I think, and I loved it. I loved it. I gave the first book a 5-star. I've just been really nervous to continue the series because the first book was so good. And if the first book is that good, I'm just like, there's so many high expectations for the next book in the series that it freaks me out. It freaks me out, but I really do need to read this. And the series is so cool. It's such a cool fantasy system, and there was such a good cliffhanger at the end of book 1 that I need to know. But I'm also nervous because the first book was all about trials and our main character is stuck in a prison doing these things. And this next book is just going to be very different than that. So I am nervous that, like, without the trials, am I gonna like the series? So that one is a nerve-wracking one, which is why I haven't gotten to it yet. The next one I have attempted a couple of times, which is sad because the first book is Gear Breakers and I gave it a 4-star and I really, really liked it. I love the writing. I love the world, but I just cannot get into the second book. So this is definitely on my list, like, to read, but also at the same time, I'm like, do I want to read it? Because this could be a DNF and I don't want to DNF anything. So this one is like on the TBR, but I have a feeling we're not going to get to this one. Next up, we have A Goblin in the Glade, and this is the second book after, what was the first one? Daughter of Trolls, I think, is the first one. This is just like a cute, I think it's going to be like a Christmassy vibe one because of like the cover and what it has on here. It's literally just like a cozy, chill fantasy story, which I think is going to be really good for like Christmas and like winter vibes. I actually have started this, but again, I kind of just paused because I was doing the Illumicrate video, but we have Glint. I do want to make a dent in the series. I have Glint and I do have Gleam, I think is the third book, in the other room. I doubt I'll get through both of them because Gleam is massive, but I can see myself getting through Glint at least because these are such fast reads. Like, they're such fast reads. So I definitely want to get to this. This is part of the Plated Prisoner series with, I always think Gold is the first one just because like the main character is gold, but what is the first one called? Gild. Gild is the first one. So we have our main character who literally is like Gild in gold and she is this prisoner and the story just goes from there. Very romantic-y, but I actually do like the fantasy world in this. Another one that I've had for a while, but I'm just like, I'm stuck on it because of something that happened in the previous book. Daisy Hates, this is the second one, The Great Undoing. Something happened after book 3, because this is technically book 4 in the series, or book 2 of the Daisy Hates, and I just like don't want to rehash what happened at the end of book 3, so I have not picked this one up yet. Like, I read like the first chapter and I was just like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. So I am very nervous about this one, but I need to continue the series because I absolutely love the Magnolia Parks world and I just need to suck it up and continue. And I'm also just not as much of a fan following the Daisy Hate books as I am the Magnolia Parks books. Like, I feel like if I was on the next Magnolia Parks, I'd be a lot more excited to get into it compared to going into a Daisy Hates book. Next, we have Spectacular. I feel like this is pushing it a little bit for series, but I mean, it's part of the series technically, and I think this will be really fun for Christmas time. So I kind of really want to get to this one and A Goblin in the Glade, A Goblin of the Glade, because they're very wintry, Christmassy vibe things. So I feel like this one would be a really, really good one to read now, and I probably will get to this one. This is probably the next one I'm going to read after what I'm currently reading. Okay, next, this is another one I don't know if I'll get to in this video because this could be a DNF. This is like I'm attempting to continue the series. Also, I keep looking over there because I'm seeing if my dog is walking underneath the closed door because he gets really mad with closed doors if he's not behind the door. I don't know if I'll continue this series because I gave The Raven Boy is a 3.5, and I'm still between a 3 and a 3.5 with that book, and I'm just not super excited to continue, but enough people love this book and say it's like the best one of the series that I kind of do want to continue just to see if I like this book and it piques my interest more. But I don't think this is right for this video, but we're gonna include it because it is the next in the series. I really want to get to. I want to get to Wrath and Mercy. I read the first book so long ago and then got this one from Fairy Loot. It took a while to get here from Fairy Loot, and so I just like never continued the series, and I really need to finish this duology. Like, it's literally a duology. This is the final book. I need to read this. I just haven't yet. I don't even think I could tell you what happened in the first book because it's been so long. So I would need to do a major refresher. Same thing with the Hollow Heart. I gave the Midnight, oh god, what is it even called? What is it called? I don't remember. Whatever the first one is, I gave it a 5-star and I absolutely loved it, but it took forever for this to come out because I think I read it like the second the first book came out. And so by the time this one came out, I had moved on to other things and lost some interest in it. It's why I hate reading books when they like come out immediately, but also that's when my interest is like peaked the highest when it's so complicated. It's so hard being a reader. Like, it's so difficult. So I want to get to this one as well. Again, can't tell you what happened in the first one. I will have to do a recap because it's been a while. It's been quite a while. Next we have, definitely high on my list, is Throne of Secrets. This is a series that can get out of hand very quickly if you do not keep up with them, because I'm assuming there's a total of 6 books in the series because we already had Wrath, which was in the main series, and then it's like the Prince of Sin series, so there should be 6 books total, and there's been 2 released, so there should be 4 more coming out, I would assume, at the very least. And so this is the next one, and this one is, which one is this? Because we already had, did we have Greed or Envy? I think we had Envy. I don't remember which one, but this one is apparently Gluttony. I need to keep up with these or this can get out of hand, especially with how chunky these books are. And then I would love to do these. I have all of them. This is the completed trilogy. I read the first one. I gave it like a 4.25, I think. I really, really enjoyed it. And again, I just need to continue the series. I just haven't because the end of book 1 was a bit traumatizing, and I know what these authors can do. Like the Illuminate Files was traumatizing, so I'm just nervous. I mean, that's what it comes down to. I'm nervous with this series, but I want to finish them. And then the book that we are currently reading, and I am actually obsessed with, we are finally reading Where the Library Hides. This just came into the library because I'm waiting for my Fairy Loot copy, but God knows when that's coming, so I didn't want to buy another copy. So luckily, I was first on the wait list, but it still took forever for them to get copies from like the publisher. But yeah, I'm loving it. I'm absolutely loving it. I am at 70 pages, and I gave the first one a 4-star. Really, the first book is a 3-star with a 5-star ending, which is why I got 4 stars, and it piqued my interest so much for this one. So I did read a little bit of a recap on the plot, and I remembered everything. It was great. And I started this one, and it started exactly how I wanted to. It is like immediately action-packed. Not action-packed, but it's like getting into what you wanted to know. Like that happened on the cliffhanger. But you're still like waiting, like, oh my gosh, what is happening with like part of it. So it's great. It's great. It's already much better than the first one, which is awesome because, again, I thought the first one was a bit slow-paced. This is moving. This is moving. It is doing things. I can't put it down. I'm loving it. So we are reading Where the Library Hides. So out of everything we've put on here, I do want to finish some series, but there's some series that I want to continue. So I definitely think Throne of Secrets, Spectacular. Now I'm looking at these, I'm like, I want to do all of them. I think, okay. The ones that I'm definitely probably going to get to. Spectacular, I'm picking up next. Definitely. I would very much like to read Throne of Secrets. I just don't know how long it's going to take because it is such a long book. And then I definitely want to try and get to The Hollow Heart and Wrath and Mercy. So those are kind of the 4 that I would like to get to. I don't know if that's what we're actually going to be reading, but this is kind of the idea. So I'm hoping this is what it is. So yeah, we're going to continue with Where the Library Hides. I will let you know how I'm feeling about this one. Hopefully another 100 pages in or just at the end. I don't know, it just kind of depends how fast moving this is. So we're gonna go read this and then I'll give you an update. I was enjoying this book until about 10 pages ago. I'm about 122 pages into this, and I'm actually like massively unhappy with the turn of events this has taken. So the cliffhanger at the end of the first book, there was 2 things that happened. and we had already kind of resolved one of them, which was like the less shocking one. It was kind of just like a thing that was happening. And then the shocking cliffhanger just got resolved. We just figured out what that cliffhanger meant because there was like a message. We just learned what it meant, and I don't like it. I do not like this turn of events because to me, this revelation and what just happened actually makes the romantic interest who I love. To me, it turns them into a real villain. Like, I don't know that there's anything that we can do at this point to make me like him. Like, I am legitimately so angry because what he did is like, it's not the most vile thing you can do, but it is like, it is such a breach of trust of what he did. And I'm so, I don't love it. I don't love it. I'm actually really pissed off that that is what the thing is and that this is the direction that it's going. I'm really ticked off that this author has felt the need to introduce like this level of conflict because it's insane. It is insane the level of conflict that this has put into the book. But at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if I get to the end of the book and I'm like, I loved it because it was so tense. As I stand right now, I hate it. 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 And then we also just introduced this like new concept for this character from the first book that I also hate. It is something that I never like. I never like. And this book is starting to feel like a soap opera, which can be entertaining, but in this case it's not. It just didn't need these two things to happen. There was already enough going on that it really just went in a route that I hate, and I'm very pissed off about it. The writing is still great. I am still wildly entertained. I just don't like that I'm entertained. Okay, we have finished the first series in this video. I'm so excited. This means that I am finished with this duology, although there is definitely going to be a spin-off series. Like, it is very obvious there's going to be a spin-off series with Wit's sister. Like, very clear. Like, there was no mistaking that. It literally even talked about, it was like, this is her adventure, but that's a story for another time. And she's the only one that it said like that about. Everyone else's story was wrapped up. So I was like, there it is. There it is. So I've decided that I'm going to talk about this in a non-spoiler way, and then there will be a spoiler section. I will say it very obviously. I will put it in big letters on the screen, and I will timestamp this whole video so that if you don't want to listen to the spoilers, you can just go to the next book. So I'll talk about non-spoiler thoughts, what we're reading next, and then we will get into spoilers because it's really hard to talk about this book and why I give it the rating I did without talking about spoilers, because this was bonkers. This book was absolutely bonkers. So I am giving this a 3-star. I'm giving it a 3-star, and I don't know if that rating is because I've been reading so many poorly written books that it's like a miracle to read a well-written book. Like, the content, there's a lot of issues with the content and the plot and some of the characters and the decisions that were made in this book, but it's just so smooth and written so well, and it's interesting that I was just like, thank God. It was such a vibe to read this after DNFing so many things for the Illumicrate vlog, because even the Phoenix Keepers was really good, and I liked the content. I would not say the writing was anything really great. That felt definitely like a debut book, which I think it was. So this is just, you can tell this is written by a more seasoned author who has an amazing editor. I did find one typo. I was like really surprised about that. Other than that, this was clearly edited so well, and the writing was just, it was just so smooth and so good. So I don't know. I feel like that is partially making my rating higher than it probably would have been, because I feel like this is more of a 2 or a 2.5 because the content is interesting, but we're gonna go with a 3 because I did enjoy my time reading this. But yeah, there's a lot of issues. There's a lot of issues. So non-spoilers, no, it's really hard to say that. Non-spoilerly, that doesn't sound right. I don't think that's right. I don't think that's right. Anyway, non-spoiler section. The things that I liked about this book, obviously the writing. I still liked I love the setting. I thought the setting was really, really good. I feel like we definitely got more of Egypt and the historical aspect of this, which normally I don't like historical fiction, and this book kind of makes me like historical fiction. This is very loosely fantasy. I do like the fantasy in this world. I do think it's not as defined as I would like it. I would like some more definition about how it actually works, especially in this one. This one did get a little bit wonky with the magic system, but I think it's cool how the magic works. It's just very convenient. It feels like a convenient plot type of thing to get out of situations. I generally also did like the characters. That's what I was gonna say earlier, but then I was like, I do think we had some issues with characters in this. I think our main character Inez regressed a little bit in this. I was expecting her to be more self-aware, and because in the first book she is very much getting herself into all these situations and just kind of being a giant pain. So I was kind of expecting her just to make better decisions in this and be more self-aware and more involved and think through some actions, because you would expect that like as character growth. No, I would say she made worse decisions in this book, like significantly worse decisions in this book, which were like, girl, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? So I still liked her character, but I do think it lacked the necessary character growth you would expect in a series. I did love the side characters. I thought we got a lot of nice exploration of some of the side characters. There was a side character I did not like. We'll get to that in spoilers, but I do think that actually hurt the book, that character, but I liked most of the other ones. I think we could have done more with some of them, but I like what we did with them. I think the pacing was so much better than the first book. So much better. I'm really sad because I loved the action and adventure in this and the general plot of this. It was so cool, and I loved seeing like this takes place in like 1885, and it's just so interesting with the excavations and talking about Egypt in the past. And there was again a lot more talking about the Library of Alexandria, which was so cool. And so I really loved that, and I loved the pacing. It was very, to me, this one felt more Indiana Jones than the first one did. The end like scene was so good and so crazy and filled with adventure and tenseness, and there's definitely stakes in this, and I liked that. I definitely had a much better time with the pacing. It took me less time to read this than it definitely did the first book. I think I'm gonna have to sit with this one for a while, but I do think it's just gonna stay at a 3. Things that I didn't like I said, some of the character decisions, Inez's lack of character development, how she kind of definitely went backwards a little bit. Some of these side characters, their storylines were just absolutely bizarre. The decision making in this is very strange. And I think that's it, but the problem is it's a huge chunk of it. Like, that is the problem. I also did not love, oh man, this is where I'm torn. This is where I'm so torn. I loved the romance in the first one. It's the only thing that really kept me going in that first one, because the first one was just, the pacing was so slow. The romance was kind of ruined in this book. Decisions were made with the romance and with what the author decided to do with that, and I think it was a incorrect decision. I think it's really going to bother a lot of people, especially your strong, independent women type of people. They're going to have a lot of opinions on this book and the decision that this book made. So that's it for this book. We're going to go into spoilers, but first I want to pick the next book. So like I said, we're definitely going to be reading Spectacular. This is definitely like short story collection kind of thing. So I wanted to read this mixed in with other things because I am not a short story collection kind of person. I like to read a couple of short stories and then have like an actual like long chapter book, etc. I don't know why I said it like that, to read. So I want to read this, but I'm going to read it concurrently. Is that correct? I'm having issues with words tonight. This is a struggle. Like, my brain hurt. So we're going to be reading Spectacular, but I also wanted to do the TBR jar picks. I reserve the right to repick if I'm not feeling it, just because this is just supposed to be a chill video, but I thought this would be kind of fun because I really don't know what to read next. Like, I'm looking at all of them, but I'm just kind of like, I don't know. So we're gonna let the TBR jar pick, which is funny. This is the Illumicrate one. This feels ironic somehow. Okay, so we have all the books in here. Oh yeah, and I did add another one. I have The Whispering Night, the third book in the Luminaries. I forgot about that one. I don't have it physically, so I just have it on my Kindle. So that is also in here. Okay, let's pick, and they're all supposed to be about the same size, so I can't tell. Here is this one. Let's see if I can see if you guys can see it first. Ooh, the Hollow Heart. Okay, I've had this on my TBR for a really long time. I feel like that's a really good pick. I'm gonna have to get a recap of the first book because it's been a really long time since I read that one. So here it is in all its glory. I gave the first book a 5-star, but it was a very long time ago. I'm so nervous about this. Oh, where did I... Book Depository. Apparently I got this from Book Depository. Oh my god, Book Depository! I forgot that was a thing. That's how like long ago that I got this. When did this get published? They got published in 2021 and I got it the year it was published. So it's been 3 years and I think I read the first book the year prior. So 2020 I probably read the first one. So it's been 4 years. Oh man, yeah, I'm gonna have to find a recap or, oh god, I don't want to reread the first book. I don't remember anything from that book except there's like a caste system and she's trying to like break into the upper echelons, I think. And I know it's sapphic. Shoot. I'm gonna have to like reread the first one potentially. I'm gonna try and find a recap first. If I can't find a recap, we may be rereading a book. Plus this one. Oh no. Oh no. But I'm actually really excited about that as the pick. So that is what we're going to be reading next. So for people who are moving on to the next thing, these are the two we will be reading concurrently at the same time. I don't know how that's going to work, but I'll probably just have this as like the main book that we're reading. And I'll tell you about updates as we go through this one. So this is what we're doing. Let's move back into where the library hides. So spoilers, we are starting spoilers. We're going to be talking about the plot and the choices that were made in this book and how strange it was. And yeah, we're going to talk about it. So if you do not want to know what is going on in this book, move on. Move on. There's going to be spoilers for the end of the first one into this book. So move to the next section. I have it time marked. Go, 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 go. Okay, we were talking about spoilers. We're going to start off right away. So the first book's cliffhanger was Wit asking, so Inez, they're trying to find artifacts and stuff because Inez's mom turned out to be this like villainous person who is stealing artifacts and her dad is still missing. And she is being sent back to Egypt after her cousin died, Elvira. Not Elvira. Was it Elvira? Is it? I think it's Elvira, was killed, which was insane. That was insane. I was very upset about that, to be honest. She's being sent back to Argentina by her uncle who controls everything because women have literally no say in anything. And Wit says, how about you marry me instead? Because then he would be able, he would be her guardian basically. And she'd have to do what he says. But obviously like he would probably let her stay there. So that was the end of that. And then the epilogue, I think, was in Wit's point of view. And Wit gets a letter from his brother, and it's basically like, does she buy it? Or the plan's going according to plan? Something like that. It's going according to plan. Something like that regarding Inez. So you're like, Wit? What? And Wit's been this like unerringly amazing romantic interest up to this point. And you still don't know that much like about him, but you know that he is engaged to some heiress and he's not happy about it. So it's just like, what's going on? What's going on? So we jump into this book and immediately you're like, okay, let's go. And it opens up immediately with the marriage thing. So they do end up agreeing to get married. So they get married and have to deal with sneaking around. It's so good. Unfortunately, how good it was at the beginning, I'm thinking 5 stars. This is what I wanted from this series. This is amazing. Oh my God. It moved into what they meant by the telegram from, or letter, telegram, whatever, from Porter to Wit. And it turns out Wit's family used to be like they're a very prominent family. I think he's like Lord something. It turns out that his dad has a gambling problem. Basically put their family into destitution where they are going to marry off Wit's little sister to this super old guy to get money. And Wit and Porter are trying to avoid that from happening, but Porter has literally no money because he's estranged from his heiress wife. Now Wit is not marrying the heiress that he's supposed to marry. So instead he marries Inez, and then Inez goes to the bank to take money out for something or another, and her bank account is empty. Turns out Wit took literally all of her money. I find that unable to come back from. Like, that is such an egregious line to cross. The level of betrayal and destruction and lying and just absolutely is horrible. It's actually horrible. That is such a villainous thing to do as a character. And for me, there's no coming back from that. And I was looking at the comments on Goodreads after I finished this, and pretty much everyone who didn't like it said it was like, what was she think? Like, what was the author thinking writing this? Why would you why would you make Wit that level of evil? Because how could you actually ever trust him again? And she tries in the book. She has Wit take a bullet for Inez and follow her around the whole book and protect her the whole book. But it feels almost icky. Like there's just this level of just, how could you ever trust this person ever again? And he never apologizes. I think he does, like, probably later in the book. He doesn't apologize really, and he said, I'd do it again. And so in my mind, like, this is an awful scenario to say, but it's the truth. If you were to put Inez and his sister in danger, who would he save? I mean, you should, it's an impossible decision. It's an impossible choice that most people would never ever have to deal with, but who would he pick? Because he should at least think somewhat about saving his wife over his sister, because that is supposed to be his person for the rest of his life. That should be the most important person in his life. I think he would pick his sister over his wife, and he would save his sister, potentially without a second glance. And I don't think there's a way to recover from that. Like, how do you trust that person ever again to have your back because they've proven that somebody else is more important to them than you? And it's like the one person you should feel like is like, they will always have your back, always have your back. And it was crazy. It was crazy that was the decision that was made. I feel like she should have backed up a little bit. I feel like the editor should have come in and said, hey, this is like really bad, and I don't think a lot of readers are gonna love this, and it's almost to the point where you can't come back from this. Like, it kind of ruins the romance. So let's dial it back and maybe have it just so that he steals half of her money, right? Like, I feel like that's a good choice. I feel like I would have felt significantly different if it was only half of her money, or even like 2/3 of it, leaving her with something. But he literally left her destitute. Like, she had nothing, like no way to even pay for her hotel room. How can you trust somebody like that after that? It's deplorable, disgusting. It's less about the money and more about the situation that he placed her in, of marrying her, sleeping with her with the intention of doing this, going and doing this, and then being like, I'd do it again, and then leaving her with nothing. And that is horrific. That is actually horrifying. So, that being off my chest, Isabella Banez did a good job of making you like Wit again. Like, you do like him by the end again. It's just, he's never back up to that point. I loved Wit. I absolutely loved Wit as a character, which is why it did make it a little bit easier to like forgive him later in the book. But I can't. I don't trust him. I don't want Inez with him, really. So that made the reading experience, it just tainted it. It really just tainted it for the rest of the book, because it was painful reading about that and trying to reconcile everything that was going on. And yeah, so that was awful. And I think it was a very poor decision that the author made to go to that level. And the weird Isadora reveal. Oh boy. So in the middle of all this happening, Isadora, the daughter of Mr. Fincastle, the bodyguard from the first one, she shows up freaking out, panicked. They find out that the Tio, Ricardo, and Abdullah, the Cleopatra site has been robbed. Everything has been taken, including Cleopatra. And Isadora shows up and says, it was my dad. I ran away. I'm trying to hide. Oh yeah, and I'm your sister. like, I'm your sister. And I'm sitting there going, no, 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 don't do this. Please do not throw something like this in here, because that is so stupid. It's so stupid. And immediately you could tell like something was off with the character. Like, Wit immediately didn't trust it, and I'm like, yes, Wit. I feel like that also helped me like Wit better, because Inez was constantly making poor decisions, and Wit was like, what are you doing? Because that was the whole book. It was Inez just making these poor decisions, and Inez was so brokenhearted over Elvira. That doesn't sound right. Doesn't sound right, but I think it is. Was so brokenhearted over her cousin's death that she latched onto Isadora immediately, like no questions asked. She was just like, you're my sister and I love you now and I'll protect you with everything that I am. Like, what is this decision making? Like, what are you talking about? And Wit's sitting there going, yeah, I expected this, but it's a poor decision. And I'm like, yes, Wit. Yes, you are correct. This is idiotic. We have that thing the whole time, is Isadora following them around and being in their business all the time. And shocker, she's bad. She is the daughter. I wasn't expecting that. I was kind of expecting it to be a fake out. She is the daughter of Mr. Fincastle and Lords. Again, I feel like is a bit of a plot hole, because we talk about Inez and the visits from her parents, and how her parents would go to Egypt for super long periods of time, but then they'd come home together. Like, when did, and the dad talked about it, he said she'd disappear for months on, or time on end, and I wouldn't know where she was, and I'm just like, this doesn't make any sense. This doesn't make any sense that she has this whole life separate, and a child, and basically another husband. It just really didn't work with the time allotment that we already knew was spent away from Inez and with Inez. It was just very strange and didn't make any sense. The whole sister thing was stupid. I feel like that whole thing could have just been cut out. It was unnecessary and really unimportant compared to the rest of the plot. And that would have shrunk the book down a little bit, because I think the book was a bit too long. So just cut out all the sister stuff and it would have been great. But they basically just needed someone to chaperone Inez around while she glowered at Wit. So like, I feel like we could have done that with Farida, who I actually really liked and I thought was a cool character. So I think we should have just kicked out Isadora's character completely and just had Farida following them around and taking pictures of stuff, etc. So weird. Such a weird decision. And speaking of weird decisions, it just keeps going. It keeps going. We get to the end of this book, and the guy that's been like the main bad guy antagonist, who takes the artifacts and is working directly opposite of Lords, is in this book a lot, and kidnaps Inez towards the end, and then has this whole Mission Impossible reveal where he rips off a skin mask off of his face and takes off a body pillow from his stomach and changes his voice completely and is like, surprise, it's Papa. It's Papa. And I was like, no. I don't know what's worse, the Isadora's sister reveal or the skin mask coming off and it's Papa. I literally don't know what's worse. The fact that I didn't rate this a 2 stars, is a miracle, but it was so wildly entertaining. I don't know. I'm gonna remember it fondly for the most part. The most wild part was in the epilogue, where everybody was sitting around the dinner table and they're talking about Amarantha, let me double check that name, because there was 2 A names and I was getting them confused. Yeah, Amarantha is Inez's cousin. Arabella, Wit's sister, and Porter show up to come to Egypt and to hang out with them. And it even says, like, they even rented a hotel nearby. And I was like, yeah, with Inez's money? What the, what the hell? I was like, I'd be so mad if I was Inez. I would be so mad. Like, you should be on a payment plan, buddy. Guys, you should be on a payment plan to pay her back all the money you stole from her. The audacity of them to rent a house nearby, not even a hotel room, a house, using Inez's money to do that, and then like hugging her when you meet her. Wild decision. That is a wild take to make. That is actually insane. So anyway, those were kind of the things that I wanted to talk about for that book, because Isabella Ibanez made decisions. She made a lot of decisions. I think a lot of them were like they could have been toned down significantly, like significantly. We didn't need the sister thing. She didn't even need to be the sister. She could have just been a friend from the first book who just was trying to turn her dad in, supposedly. Like, we didn't even need the sister aspect of it. We didn't need Skin Mask Boy. Papa could have just been like the benefactor behind the evil guy. Then we definitely didn't need the whole like stealing all her money thing. She should have just stole half of it. Like, that was plenty of money. Like, she had a shit ton of money. She was basically an heiress. So anyway, those are the spoilers. It was interesting. I still stand by the 3-star. How I spoke about it, it definitely sounds like a 2-star, but I had a fun time. I don't know, and I definitely will read the spinoff, because what more wild stories. Oh yeah, so the spinoff, that's what I wanted to show you guys. Arabella's little, this is how they kind of did the epilogue. So Arabella's little epilogue is, thanks to Wit's financial contribution. You mean Inez's contribution? And Porter's protection against her thoughtless and selfish parents, she enjoyed a measure of independence and autonomy in England. Good for her, because Inez didn't have any of that money, so thanks. Eventually she ran away to Egypt and had her own adventure, but that's a story for another time. So that's definitely going to be a spin-off of the series, and I will 100% read it while also hating Arabella for having all of Inez's money. That's just what it's going to be. That's what it's going to be. I really hope they pay her back in the spin-off book. Like, they somehow find a way to pay her back slowly. So anyway, we're moving on to the books. So let's hope that these are a bit less absurd than the book that I just read. But I am excited. I finished a duology. That is always a good thing. So
okay, I just got finished recording my Romantasy Advent Calendar. I'm really excited, and I looked up all the books on Amazon and stuff. And yeah, they're all on Kindle Unlimited, which is not like, I don't love that. But I feel like so much stuff now is on Kindle Unlimited. It's hard to find a Romantasy that's not, like, even Fourth Wing, which I love, and I don't feel like is necessarily Kindle Unlimited quality, is on Kindle Unlimited. So is Assistant to the Villain, I think. So I feel like it's like a thing now just to make sure that Romantasy is on Kindle Unlimited. I don't know what it is. So I'm not really surprised. I'm hoping they're really good writing quality, though. That's what I'm most nervous about, is that I'm not going to like the writing of them. But I do plan to start a couple because they sound really good. So I am rereading The Midnight Lie because I don't remember anything that was happening. And I definitely confused this book with like a couple other books about the plot, which I'm happy about, because I thought something happened in this book that definitely does not happen in this book, and I did not like the thing that happened, because I was like, I rated this 5 stars. Why would I rate it 5 stars if that thing happened in this book? But it's a different book. It's a different book. I'm slowly remembering it, but I'm also just like, I'm so annoyed. I hate rereading books because I don't like changing my rating. Like, to me, The Midnight Lie, I look at it and I'm like, this is a 5-star read. I love this. Me rereading it, I'm like, I don't know about that. We're gonna have to see by the end, but like, it's definitely not giving 5-star energy right now, which is really, really sad. And I really don't want to change my rating from what it was, because at the time I read it, I was like such a good 5-star. This is why I don't reread books. This is why I don't reread them unless I know for sure I'm gonna love it. Like the Scholomance. I've reread every book in the Scholomance at least twice. I think I read A Deadly Education 3 times, and every time it was a 5-star. So I will forever reread that one knowing it's a 5-star. Fourth Wing, same thing. I've read Fourth Wing twice, and it was a 5-star both times. There's some older books that I read, like The Midnight Lie, and a couple other ones that I definitely feel like won't be a 5-star upon reread. But I don't care. It's still really good. I'm still really, really entertained with it. And it's so quick. It's such a short book. I'm like already 29% into the book. I think I was reading it on Kindle last night and this morning. I need to check exactly where I am in the physical book, but at least on Kindle I'm on page like 111, but I don't think that's exactly right with the book. I'll have to go check, but I'm on chapter 20. The chapters are super short. That is the little update. I'm enjoying Midnight Lie. I'm hoping it's a 5-star by the end, because I don't want to change my rating. This is gonna be like the shittiest quality clip you've ever seen. It is first thing Monday morning. It's been, oh God, when's the last time I updated you? Thursday, probably. So my mother-in-law came to visit, and she helped decorate the house. The house looks like Christmas threw up. I'm so tired. We were up until like 2 or 3 every night, and then we were out shopping all day. I'm so tired. But my brain also, for some reason, decided to wake me up at 7 in the morning.
So I'm loving that. So here I am, 7 in the morning, exhausted, reading, catching up on booktube. I'm so behind on everyone's booktubes. My second purge video went out yesterday and it's doing really well, so I was excited. I was really nervous the first one was going to generate like a lot of excitement, and then no one would watch the second one. But it does seem like people were still interested in the series. So that's really good. I am a little worried that people aren't going to be as excited for Owlcrate. I feel like Owlcrate's just not as popular as Illumicrate is, so I'm a little worried about that one. I do know everybody's pretty excited about the Fairy Loot, but Fairy Loot has to be last. There's so many books in the Fairy Loot stuff, and I think I can get to the Owlcrates faster. Yeah, and then I'm also toying with doing an episode for Aardvark at the end of the year of 2025. And then a couple episodes for Book of the Month because I need to get through those as well. So those might be like special episodes where maybe that's what I should have done in January, but I already announced Owlcrates. But yeah, after Owlcrate, maybe I'll do one episode of like Aardvark or one episode of Book of the Month and then go to Fairy Loot just kind of for a break from fantasy. Yeah, I don't know. We're still thinking about that. I'm so congested. I'm so congested. So anyway, the update. I finished reading The Midnight Lie, and I'm really sad. It's one of those situations where I read this book when I wasn't reading a ton of stuff. Like, I was still, let's see, this book came out in 2020. It said I read it in, like, March 2020, which was, like, probably exactly when the book came out. In 2020, that was COVID, so I was actually in or just about to start my lab tech school, so I definitely was not reading that much. I just got let go from Barnes & Noble because of COVID, because I started a job at Barnes & Noble like November or December. No, because they were letting people go in December, I think, because I don't think I worked through Christmas. Actually, I might have been working at Barnes & Noble. I'm trying to remember exactly when that happened. I might have been working at Barnes & Noble like January through March or something, and then they let people go. I don't know. Around then, I was just started working, so it was, what is it, the rule? Last in, first out. It was definitely me. It was me and this one other guy. I also was okay with it because it's kind of, they asked me about it when they were doing the layoffs. And they were like, we just want to make sure, like, you would be okay. Like, we're looking at positions. And I was like, give them to people who need them. This is helpful to me and my husband, but my husband was what did they call them? They had a name for him. It was like a mandatory worker or like a necessary worker. They had a name for them. I don't remember what it's called, but he did not lose his job anytime during COVID. We were really lucky compared to some of our friends. And so I was like, give my position to somebody who needs it if you can only have so many people working, because they had to like lay off like half the staff. They were not open for business except for pickups. Oh, that was a crazy time. That was a crazy time that I read this book. So I think it was just like one of those books that I read and I wasn't reading a ton of stuff. I was just out of grad school where I didn't read anything really. So I was slowly getting back into reading around the time that I read this. So I think I pretty much liked anything that I was reading. Now that I've read so much more and I'm definitely like I know my taste better. There you go, that's a little better. This has so much stuff that I don't like in a book. My problem actually was the writing, which has been kind of my thing that I get annoyed with the easiest. And the two main characters were driving me crazy. Like, I'm shocked that I gave this a 5-star. Because again, they do all the things that I hate. They do all the things that I absolutely hate. I'm so mad that I did not read this second book 4 years ago when it came out. I'm really not enjoying the second book. So before we get into the second book, yeah, the characters are consistently making terrible decisions. They are such big pains in the ass. Our main character is just so gullible and easily fooled, which is not something I love reading about over and over and over again. I mean, it's consistent through pretty much the whole book. And then Sid is one of the most pain in the butt selfish characters that I've ever read. I don't even love their romance because it was very underdeveloped. So I also think I wasn't reading that much romance back then either. So it's just crazy how much your taste can change over 5 years. And this definitely would not have been a favorite now. Like, I would have been really hesitant to start the second book, which is crazy. So also that finale that I was like, oh my gosh, this is like the best cliffhanger ever.
it does a thing I don't like. Like sitting here like, what was I thinking 4.5 years ago? Like, what was I doing? I read the ending and I was like, oh no. Oh no, I don't like this. So I'm frustrated. I'm actually very frustrated and like mad at me 4.5 years ago for not reading this freaking book back then. Yeah, it does a thing with memory and I really, really don't like that. So moving into the second book, so I could get it, I gave The Midnight Lie 3 stars. Book 2 right now, oh my god. Oh my god, I'm ready to riot. I am not enjoying it. I actually don't think it's plotted out very well. I don't think it's written very well. The characters are even worse in this one, and it's due to some of the memory stuff, but it also has a second point of view, which I think is wholly unnecessary. But because of a situation at the end of book 1, you have to have both Niram and Sid's point of views, or there would be like a whole half of the book missing. But Sid's point of view is literally painful. Like, it's written so slowly, nothing is happening. And it's kind of just her being so nasty to her family and everyone around her. So, and that's like her whole personality, is just being so angry at everything. And again, she's just like a really complicated character to talk about, because like, she has a right to be angry about these things, but the way she is going about it and the bitterness, and like, she's like taking cheap shots at people, which are just, it's so nasty. It's like she is being so nasty to people who clearly love her, but they're just having a hard time understanding. She's driving me crazy. She's actually driving me crazy. Then Niram's whole thing I hate. I hate Niram's side of the story. I cannot stand reading from it, but it's still somehow more interesting than Sid's. So this book is just literally nothing that I like. So I'm just kind of getting through it to try and get to a point where that is no longer a problem, but it is dragging on. Like, I thought it would kind of resolve some of the stuff by now, but we're just like digging deeper into the stuff that I don't like. Remember how I said that I wasn't going to DNF it? I'm really close to DNFing this. So, what is that? I'm so close to DNFing this because Sid is a horrible character. She really is. She's horrible. She's angry at people for something, like, I'm trying to like not say spoilers, but I feel like I have to, because I don't think anyone should read this. Oh my gosh, I'm so mad. I'm so mad. I actually don't think I would have enjoyed this if I read this 3.5 years ago based on how Sid is acting. So basically Sid is, oh gosh, I can't talk about it without spoilers. Should I talk about spoilers and just put a spoiler section? Yeah, I talked about the first book with spoilers. Okay, we're gonna get into a spoiler section, so if you don't want spoilers, definitely go to the next clip. I'm eating my back, by the way. That's why I'm laying like this. And the angle's really weird, and it's still dark. Oh, Sid is a royal... So, oh gosh. This book feels like more of a sequel to the Winter's Curse series, because Sid is the child of the two characters in that series. And she is royalty, and we learn that she's betrothed to a prince, but she's not interested in men. She is purely interested in women. She has led us to believe in the first book that that is not something her parents are okay with, and that the parents forced her into this engagement. We just learned that that is not the case, and I am so confused why she's so mad. Like, we just had this whole conversation, and we literally just found out that she's the one who set up this engagement. What are you talking about? Why are you so mad at your mom? Like, yeah, she wants you to marry for political reasons if it works for you. Like, she didn't force this on you. She is a queen, so she has to say, like, yeah, this would help us. But you're the one who came up with the whole idea, not her. Why are you mad at her? You're the one who did the thing. I don't understand why you're so mad at everybody. She's super mad at her dad, who has been nothing but kind to her, and her reasoning for being mad at him is for not seeing her as she is. And I'm sitting here going, it's because you're not communicating with anybody. Like, you're not, like she deserves to be angry about the Sid versus Sidorine thing. Like, they keep calling her Sidorine, and that's wrong. She prefers a specific name. You should respect that. Everything else is stupid. Like, she's mad at them for not recognizing that she doesn't want to marry this person, but she's the one who came up with the idea. You have to communicate. People can't read your damn mind. Like, that's what this is coming down to, is she wants everyone to read her mind and understand her without communicating any of her feelings to anybody. I am so angry. Like, I'm so angry at her character. She's such a jerk. Like, that's what she is. She's a jerk to everybody. So I'm pretty pissed off, to be honest. Yeah, this is a really poorly written sequel, and I'm actually shocked because The Midnight Lies looking like a 5-star compared to this book, which is wild. So this has been fumbled majorly, and I don't know how you fumbled this book that badly.
Okay, I'm here for a more professional update instead of just sitting and wallowing in bed, which is pretty much what I did all morning. Like, all morning, I just laid in bed reading. I've been up since 7, I think it's 11:30 now, and I finished the book with a lot of skimming some sections, which, you know, it's bad when you skimmed some stuff and it didn't make a difference. Didn't miss anything. Absolutely did not miss a single thing in skimming some of this book. But it was either that or DNFing, and I did not want to DNF something in this after just doing a whole video series about DNFing. Unfortunately, that leaves me with rating this 1 star. No one is more surprised than I am. I cannot believe this. The turn that this video has taken with this duology, I don't know what's happening. I am so confused. These two books don't belong in the same universe. Like, well, they do, obviously. But this book is following completely different things, really, than this book. It cannot be any more different than this book. Like, I loved some of the world and the magic in this, and the writing is still good in both of these. The writing is good in these. It's not a situation like Illumicrate where the writing is just bad in every book. The writing is good in these. So I was at least able to finish the book instead of stopping because the writing was so bad. But I don't know what the author was thinking with this second book. It legitimately felt like the author missed the Winter's Curse series and just wanted to create an homage to that series. This felt like its own thing. This didn't need to be in that world. Like, there was obviously hints about it, and it was kind of like a little Easter egg thing. This was like, we're in Winter's Curse. That's what this book is about. Niram's story that starts in this is important in this, but not really. Like, her whole story probably could have been cut out, and it wouldn't have made a difference because her story was not resolved at the end. That's what I'm so confused about, and why it gets a 1 star is this book is Sid's. Okay, so this did arguably extremely worse. This did what The Prisoner's Throne and The Stolen Heir did. So the Stolen Heir series, or duology, is the latest in the Cruel Prince series. And the first book is in the point of view of one character, and then book 2 is in the point of view of a different character, the whole book. This didn't do that to the extreme, but it basically did. This was entirely Niram's point of view, which I enjoyed. I do feel like I wish I got a little bit more personal connection to her, but I still generally enjoyed it. This one is dual POV, but Niram's chapters are like 3 pages, and Sid's chapters are like 25. Yeah. And they're like every other chapter, except there's chapters by a god, and that storyline also relates, well, it kind of relates to both of them, but it does seem more relating to Sid, kind of, especially by the end. So it's just so bizarre. It's so bizarre what was done in this book. Let's do the pull for the next book next. Oh yeah, I still haven't read any of Spectacular because I got so sidetracked by reading this duology. Okay, a little bit of housekeeping. I am adding another book into here. So that is going in there, and it is Soul of Stars. I totally forgot about this one because, again, I read the first book a really long time ago, and it was another 5-star. Luckily, I do not need to reread that one because I do generally remember it pretty well, and there are better recaps online. The problem with this is The Midnight Light had no recaps. Otherwise, I would have just done the recap because, again, I don't enjoy rereading books. We're adding this one in because I forgot that I had this one. And hopefully, I would be totally cool if I pulled this one. The ones that I would like to pull, oh my gosh, I don't know. I don't know at this point. Maybe Aurora Burning. Maybe I want to go a little sci-fi or something different. So maybe Daisy Hates. Oh, do I really want to read Daisy Hates? I don't know about that. I don't know. I don't know. I don't have any preferences. I'm kind of feeling a little bit out of sorts after that. Okay, so it is thoroughly mixed. Let's pull out this one. Well, I can already tell it's not Soul of Stars. Is that what it's called? Yeah, Soul of Stars, because it's got this little old paper on it. So we have God Slayers. I don't really want to read that. I don't really want to read it. Okay, I'm going to pull a second one out. I'm going to try to read God Slayers, but if I'm not vibing with it, I'm not going to read it. Because I did try to read it earlier this year, and it feels almost like a DNF, but I was unwilling to DNF it. And I don't want to DNF another book in this video. Okay, we're going to pull another one just as a backup to God Slayers, just in case I'm really not feeling it, which is what I think is going to happen personally. I don't know why I included it in this video. Okay, let's hope for a better one. Daisy Hates. Okay, you know what? I'll take it. I'll take it. I'll take that one. Going to be reading either God Slayers, which you can tell. See, I've already started that one. I just didn't continue it. Or Daisy Hates The Great Undoing. This is the second Daisy Hates book, or the third in the series. So I'll come back with an update about which one I end up deciding to read, because I'm just not feeling things right now. So who knows? Who knows what's gonna happen? I have a crazy update for you guys. I finished my next book in basically a day. I would have finished it last night. So we drew yesterday, and I ended up reading the book pretty much entirely yesterday, except for I a little distracted last night. We had football on and we were doing other things, and I was counting while I was crocheting and all this stuff. So I was kind of alternating between listening and reading it. I actually really like the audiobook, and I lost track of what was going on at the end. Otherwise I would have finished at the end. So I went to sleep, woke up this morning, went back about probably half an hour in the audiobook, and then re-listened to it, and I was like, oh, this makes way more sense. So we ended up reading God Slayers, which was not what I thought I was going to read. I thought I was going to have an update for Daisy Hates, but I did attempt this first, and I was like, you know what? We're just doing it. We're doing it. And it piqued my interest. So I had already read 80 pages of this, and I was struggling with the repetitiveness of this book. So this is the second book in the Gearbreaker series. This is a duology. It's finished. The first book was so cool. This whole series is about these giant mechs, and it's awesome. And basically it's a group of rebels versus the big government who makes these mechs. And so it's the gods. They call them basically the gods, because they're just these giant things. And then you have the Gearbreakers, which are the rebels. They go in and they break the mechs. So it's awesome. So you're following our main character is Sonia. I don't know how to say her name. Even after hearing it multiple times, I still don't know if I'm saying it right. We have Belisana and we have Eris. And so Belisana is actually a pilot of one of the mechs, and Eris is one of the Gearbreakers. So it's so good. I would say the first one is definitely better. I gave the first one a 4-star. I am going to give God Slayers a 3.5. I still very much enjoyed it. However, there was a lot of repetitiveness. I have a hard time with that word. And for the first probably 150 pages, there was a lot of rinse and repeat of getting captured, getting away, getting captured, getting away, foiled plans, doing this, foiled plans. So it's just probably 50 pages could have been cut out at the beginning, and it wouldn't have made that much of a difference. It's like the author wasn't exactly sure how she wanted to proceed with the second book, because she obviously had a very clear vision for the first book. It was very angsty, enemies to lovers, brainwashing stuff going on. It was very succinct and very good, and I just think the writing was a bit better in the first one. Again, this is it just felt like the author wasn't exactly sure how she wanted to end this book. I like how it ended, actually. I think it was really good, but I do think some people are going to think it's a little bit anticlimactic, kind of like the end of Twilight, if you guys know what I'm talking about. Breaking Dawn, at least the movie, I don't remember what happens in the book. I've only read that book once. At least in the movie, everyone talked about how they wanted this massive crazy fight scene, etc. And this one did have one, but the penultimate part of the book, like where everything was like, this is the end, there wasn't that type of situation. It went out with a whisper, but I actually think it worked better in this situation because there was like all these books were filled with fighting and these big crazy mech fights and the gear breakers going in. This was a dark book. There was a lot of death and a lot of just yikes things that were happening. The stakes are real in these books, so I don't think it needed that. Like the last thing that happens was just like, oh my god, it was like, it was so perfect. It was so perfect for what was going on and how this book set up that ending. So I really, really liked it. Again, it really gets a 3.5 because of the repetitiveness, and it feels like it lost its way halfway through here. And I do think the wrong person died. I don't know if you guys are gonna read this. I'm not gonna do spoilers for this one, but there is a specific character, in my opinion, it would have been heartbreaking if they died. Based on how their character was set up, it would have been the perfect death to go out in a blaze of glory, and that's exactly what that character would have wanted. So I'm kind of sad that that character kind of didn't get, in my opinion, the story arc that they really deserved, because that would have been like, oh my gosh, this character. Instead, to me, a character that didn't need to die died, and I was quite upset about it. So I definitely would recommend this duology. And that is another book down. That's another book down. We've got 3. We read Godslayers. Actually, technically 4. We read Where the Library Hides, Midnight Lie, The Hollow Heart, and Godslayers. That is 4 already, and it is Tuesday morning. I still got so much time. My reading is so weird right now. It's the end of the year. I'm doing so much like end of year content, thinking about lists and all this stuff, that reading is kind of like just like taking a little bit of a back burner. So I'm kind of happy I had Godslayers, which was like a super easy book to read. I didn't have to think too hard about it, and it was just a good time. So I feel like books that will not just be a good time is probably The Dream Thieves. I feel like that's the one that I don't want to pick, which is probably what I'll end up picking, because that is my luck. But everything else, whatever. Just whatever. Okay. We have... What does that say? Oh, Poston, the Ashley Poston book. Okay. I'm okay with this, even though we just did a sci-fi, but that's fine. We have Soul of Stars. So this is the second book in the Heart of Iron duology, I think. I gave the first one a 5-star. We are not rereading the first one. We're not doing that again. Although I do think that one would hold up a little bit better than The Midnight Lie, because I remember distinctly liking that writing, and I like Ashley Poston's writing style. Oh, we're gonna attempt to read Soul of Stars. I'm tired. I'm so tired today. I got new bookmarks. So my favorite person to buy from on Etsy, well, I have a couple, but one of my favorite to buy on Etsy is, I think it's like Miyagi Moose or Maggie Miyagi, something like that. I love their art style. It's what my Kindle is, the red vampire Kindle case. That's who designed it as well. I'll put their like thing down below. They were doing a huge $1 a bookmark sale kind of thing. Yeah, so I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I don't remember getting this one. I wonder if this was a freebie. I didn't check my order thing, but I don't remember getting that one. But I will still show you that one. I was just very confused. I don't know if it's stuck to something else, or because I don't know what this is. Oh, never mind. I know what it is. Never mind. I still don't know if I bought this one, because I'm like, it's fine. I might have just rampaged and got it. I also got a scrunchie, but I didn't love the material on that one, so I probably won't get any more scrunchies from this seller. But I love the bookmarks. I love the bookmarks. I love the Kindle cases and pretty much everything else I've gotten. So first up, we have a Christmas scene. So I already have an Akratar version of this, and I love it. So we have Santa Skating, North Pole Library Toy Workshop, Penguins Welcome, Hot Cocoa, and Gingerbread Bakery, and it is the same on front and back, which I love. Then we have the Halloween version, which I've wanted since, you know, Halloween. It says, I can literally look at it like this: Haunted Library, Boo Sheet Company. That's funny. Pumpkin Patch, Witch's Brew, and Black Candle Company. Love that. Then we just have like a Halloween one. I wanted to buy some for Halloween, but I decided not to be irresponsible. So then when the $1 sale came on, I was like, yes, let's get the things that I wanted. So I plan to read Done and Dusted soon. So I got the cowboy romance bookmark, which I love. This is more on the glossy side. The other three were matte. The rest of these are glossy. Then I got my favorite, Twilight. I got this. I'm obsessed with this. I love it, especially the Welcome to the City of Forks. I love that. And then this is one I'm not sure that I bought, but I realize now it's Crescent City, which means I potentially could have bought it, even though I don't even really like Crescent City that much. I'm trying to block my stupid face out. So you can see ballerina shoes, says order delivery. That's what I noticed. It said order delivery on the letter. So I was like, oh, that's Crescent City. And then White Raven. So those are the bookmarks that I got. That dinged right off of there. So I got plenty of bookmarks to do. So we're gonna try to read Soul of Stars. If I get through it quickly, we'll do another one. But at this point, it's like, depending on how fast I read them is how many more books that I do. If I read this all today, we'll do another one. If I am still reading this by Thursday, this will probably be the last one. So like, I'm not gonna pick something new Thursday because I'm supposed to be done with this Friday. So we've at least got our 3-4 books that I wanted to get, which is exciting. So that is everything for right now. I'm going to go attempt to see if I can find actually, I need to go shopping first. Then I'm going to come back and see if I can find a recap for Heart of Iron. And then we'll move on to Soul of Stars. I don't know what he's doing. Like, I'm not sure what he's doing. I have a quick reading update. What are you doing? What are you doing? He was just outside and sometimes he gets very excited. So he also needs to go to the groomer so badly. I still haven't picked a new groomer at our new location, so I've been grooming him myself for now, and it is not working. It is not going to work in a long time. He's a pain in the butt to groom. So anyway, I do have a bit of a reading update. It's more of a struggle update. So like I said, we were going to try reading Soul of Stars. We're still going to. I am now prepped to read it. It just took me a really long time because no, there were not actually any recaps available. So I actually was like, okay, can I try Chat GPT? Right? The answer is no. If you do try Chat GPT, you'll most likely just spend 2 hours retraining it because it tells you all the wrong information for the book. Like, wild the things that it was telling me that happened in the first book. First off, it tried to tell me that a character died. That definitely did not die. Then it completely changed the name of one of the characters. Then it left out one of the main characters from the plotline completely. Then it changed another character's name. Then it told me the romance was between the wrong characters. And so every time I corrected this, it was like, whoops, my bad, sorry, let me fix that. And every time I would fix something, it would change something else to be wrong. So it was calling like the great overarching evil that's in this, the great darkness or something, which is not what it's called. It's called Hive. I don't know where it was getting these things from. It was actively making stuff up about the book. And I think it's because it's not one that's like super wildly popular, because then I purposely asked it to give me a rundown of Fourth Wing, and everything in Fourth Wing that it spit out was correct. So it has to be the fact it was like a lesser known book. Like that has to be it, because it was absolutely wild, the things that it was telling me. So yeah, that was the first thing. But the funny thing is, in doing that for 2 hours, it like created such a rage inside of me that it actually made me remember everything that happened in the book. So, because it got like basic stuff right, and then I'd be sitting there going, that doesn't seem right. So I'd like ask it a question. It's like, oh yeah, that's actually what happened. And I was like, what is going on? So accidentally, through trying to train Chat GPT, probably unsuccessfully, I'll probably go on there later and see if it's fixed anything, because you have to like do it multiple times for it to like actually learn it. Like it'll learn it in a session, but like you have to like reinforce it or something like that. So I don't have patience for that. I don't care. This is the first time I've used Chat GPT. I don't have the patience, nor do I care to actually teach it to do something. I just don't. I just thought it'd be like an easier way to do this. And you know, it kind of did work. It was not easy by any means. I could have read 120 pages in those 2 hours of the original book instead of using my time to do that. But you know what? That's where we're at. So we are gonna start Soul of Stars. Also started reading Spectacular finally. Honestly, kind of bored. Like I haven't gotten that far into it, but I am kind of bored. It definitely feels similar to A Court of, oh, what is it called? Starlight, whatever that 3.5 book was in the ACOTAR series that I did actually like it, but it's just kind of exists. I do love the artwork. I will say that I absolutely love the artwork, and I do like seeing the characters again, but unfortunately I was hoping it would be like the sisters equally, but it's definitely more about Tella again, which to me is slightly unfortunate. I was really hoping it was going to be more about Scarlet since we've gotten so much of Tella and not as much of Scarlet, but yeah, no, it's gonna be about Tella, and she's like kind of reverted back to how much of a pain she was in the first Caraval book where she was not the main character. So yeah, I don't know. If you don't like Tella, you're probably not gonna like this because it's just continuing her story and doing this like cute thing where she's trying to do something. So that's kind of the update, just kind of bored, but hopefully it just gets more interesting because it is, again, it's not like it's supposed to be more vibes, less plot. So anyway, I'm about to film, it is nighttime, but I thought it would be more appropriate to film my Twisted Retreat unboxing at night. So that is what I'm about to do, and then I'll probably read Spectacular the rest of the night and then start Soul of Stars. That does not sound right. Star of Souls? Something like that. I'll probably start that tomorrow because I just don't have the brain capacity today after the chat GPT stuff that happened. So anyway, that is the little update, and I'm gonna go film and do things and just chill tonight. I think I'm just gonna chill tonight. I did so much yesterday that I think it's a chill day today. We are ending this video a little bit earlier than I thought I would. It is Wednesday night. I was supposed to be reading this and I didn't read any of it. I just was not interested in reading sci-fi. So I was like, okay, maybe I'll wait till tomorrow to read it. Let's read Spectacular tonight. Yeah, I did. I finished Spectacular and it was not spectacular. And so I just kind of am done with this vlog right now. I'm done with the series. I want to go read some cutesy Christmas holiday rom-coms right now. That's what I want to read. I don't want to read these things anymore. I have read plenty of series. I have finished a bunch of series. We just didn't end up getting to this one. So I do plan to get to this one. I really should add it to my 25 what is it, 25 books of 2025, but I've already filmed that, so I'm not. But this is 26. But yeah, I couldn't do it. I didn't want to do it. Like I said, did read Spectacular. I'm giving it 2 stars, which is actually crazy because I love the Caraval series and I love Once Upon a Broken Heart, although this had absolutely nothing to do with Once Upon a Broken Heart. I don't know why I thought it would, but for some reason I thought they were gonna have some sort of tie-in with Jax potentially like coming into town to celebrate the great holiday thing or whatever, and his girly pop would be with him, and that would be that. But I think that's actually what's gonna happen in the next novella, because this hinted at there being a spring version of this. Basically, like there's something apparently that happens in the Great North during the spring. There's like a spring festival, and they even like kind of bring up Tella not wanting to go because she wants to avoid somebody. But yeah, that seemed like a direct thing saying, hey, there's gonna be another one. Which I don't know how you feel about, because I really didn't enjoy this. I thought it was like kind of cute to start off with and I was really excited. But Stephanie Garber hates Scarlet. She legitimately hates Scarlet. She gave Scarlet 1 book, the original Caraval, which to me is arguably the best one. And then this is, to me, she was supposed to be in this a lot more, but she like had no part in this. Like it was entirely about Tella and Legend, and it was basically, the whole book was almost the first half of the book, we'll say half. The first half of the book was entirely a third act conflict and a romance. That was the whole first part of the book. And then the second half of the book was a dubious consent dark romance. It was such a weird vibe. Why was the decision made for that to be in this book? Like this did not feel, well, it felt very holiday, but not how I wanted it. This did not give me warm and fuzzy feelings whatsoever. It was weird. It was a very strange choice and felt very, not necessarily out of character, but it didn't feel like a book connected into this world at all. Like, it did not feel like it belonged in the Caraval world at all. So I thought that was incredibly strange. I am surprised so many people like it. I did look at a bunch of reviews. A lot of people are giving it 4 or 5 stars. There were a couple 1 stars, and I completely agree with the 1 stars that this was like definitely not it. It was weird, but that's pretty much it. It just follows Tella doing holiday things, and Scarlett's kind of the side character again, and it was not good. I feel like you should just skip this. Like, although if someone told me to skip this, I wouldn't. Like, I wouldn't. I would still read it. I don't think anything important happened in it, and I still bought the stickers. So if you didn't know, Rosie Thorns actually does the artwork in here, and originally she actually made a different front and back end paper situation, and she actually got the okay to create stickers for the original end papers. So I'm gonna put the stickers in, and they're gonna look different because this is the back. And so she had, like, in her mind, she had a different idea of what the back should be. Basically, the front is what is going on at the beginning of the book, and then the back is basically the resolution. So yeah, I'm excited for that because I think it very much, the artwork is very much like the beginning of the book. It does not represent the end of the book really at all. So I still bought those because I am keeping it. I'm keeping it to go with my Caraval collection. It's just weird. It's just a weird decision. So because of that, I just didn't really want to continue the series. I wanted to read actual Christmas romance books, and so that's what I'm gonna do. I think I'm just gonna read for fun, which is like a crazy concept because I have so many projects coming up that I feel like I need time to read on my own. I'm actually working on a project right now, which is exciting. If you can see that over there, I don't know if I can, I don't think I can zoom in. Yeah, I can't zoom in, but I don't know if you can see it, but those are wrapped. Let me see. Yep, these are wrapped books. And these are all my Owl Crate books. I talked about in one of my other videos that I think I just posted. I don't know why this is being so weird. I don't know if this is like actually going in and out of focus, but we are doing Owl Crate next, and I am going to be doing blind picking. So I'm wrapping everything and just picking off the shelf a random book. That way I'm not like dreading things, and that way it's not just going in direct order like Illumicrate. I kind of want each volume to be a little bit different, and I'm still toying with what I want to do with the Fairy Loot series when that starts in a couple months. I have that going on, reading my book box books when they come. So I got a lot of stuff that I'm going to be doing with vlogs. So I kind of just want to read, not on camera, and just enjoy my time. So I'm going to be reading some Christmas stuff. I do want to get to this chunky pile of romantasy books that I just got in the romantasy advent calendar. So I have a lot of stuff that I just want to read for fun and feel no pressure while reading it. So let's actually look at the recap. First up, we read Where the Library Hides. I gave this a 3.5. Right? I give this a 3.5. It was good. I liked most of it better than the first book, but I had a major problem with the romance. We're not going to rehash that out. It's a 3.5, major problems with the romance. I think the author could have done a much better job with how this was plotted out. Next up, we read The Midnight Lie, which I gave a solid 3, which is down from a 5-star that it used to be. And then we read The Hollow Heart, which was a 1-star. This is going on worse and disappointed lists. Yeah, that's I'm really glad I didn't do those videos yet because these are going to be on them. Spectacular is also going to be on a most disappointed list of the whole year, which is crazy because it was one of my most anticipated books. Then probably, I guess the winner of this video is Godslayers. I gave this a 3.5. This was good. Yeah, and it just had a lot of repetitive things in it at the beginning, but generally I think it was a really fun read. And then the book that we just talked about, Spectacular, it is a 2-star. So not a great average for this video. I was hoping for a 4 or potentially a 5-star. I feel like we were set up for success and we failed. We somewhat failed. This was like my 100% was gonna get a 5-star. Like, this was my easy one, and this got the second to lowest rating in this video, so I'm over it. I'm over it. So if we rank them, it is definitely Hollow Heart last, then Spectacular, then Midnight Lie, then we have Where the Library Hides, and then Godslayer on top. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It wasn't exactly what I wanted it to be, but I'm hoping the Lazy Book Club is watching this and you guys read a bunch of your series. I got through 3 duologies and finished up a series that is ongoing in the universe, whatever. So I'm very happy with that. So definitely let me know down below what you guys got through in December, what else you're deciding to read if you're continuing smashing those series. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you like it if you enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any future content. Lots of end of year stuff coming out. I've already got so much stuff filmed. I just need to edit, which is like my least favorite thing to do. Yeah, leave a comment down below all the things if you've read these duologies, these series, what you plan to read, etc. And I'll see you guys in the next video.